Adrian Mitchell walks through the halls with Constantine. They walk down the stairs into the lobby, passing the other guests, the art, through the lobby to a small maintenance entrance, another staircase, one that heads to the basement. Adrian turns to Constantine as they're walking. All right, you gotta show me. Look, 5 gold ain't nothing, and, well, is it what you said it was?
Keep it between us.
They walk down, open up an old wooden door. Despite how young the hotel is, it's a space that's not kept up for guests. And they walk down a narrow stone pathway along a wall to a door. The door is shaking against the doorframe violently. And as the footsteps get closer, the shaking diminishes as if it can sense that somebody is approaching. Constantine takes out a metal rod with a forked prong on the end and an alien-looking crystal on the other end of it. The crystal glows with power. He slowly opens the door, sticking the rod in first, and you hear the violent electrocution sound echoing through the halls. And as the door opens, we see as these two from the hallway peek their head in. And Adrian, who carries his director celebrity swagger, breathes a gasp as he looks inside. Constantine, that's a lot bigger than you said it was. Yeah, well,
Getting paid well to get this thing out of here.
the door shuts closed quickly. Are we safe? With that thing here? Is it gonna break open the door?
It'll be fine. The door shaking is all it can do. I come down here and put it out of its misery every few hours.
How much are you getting paid for this?
Let's just say I might retire after this. No more work in the mines for me.
The mines? Is it as lucrative as they say? They start walking back down the hall. You can still see the paleness in Adrian's face. He was spooked.
Yeah, well, I've got a sister who's doing pretty well, I'd say.
All right. They open the door and begin to walk back up, and that's where we'll transition to where we left the party. In the office of Harland Usher. Alone, Constantine had left, and all of the other guests who saw the scuffle between Trevor and Constantine, the gun being pulled out. What would you like to do?
Does Dr. Glass know much about the late wife of her patient, Arthur, who she discovered shortly before coming here that, he's an older gentleman and his wife was killed by the Van Thorns for doing too well mining on Crow Perch. Was she orcish?
Roll history.
With disadvantage because I have a level of exhaustion.
It's been a long day.
A long 3 days, I guess, since I was knocked unconscious and shoved in that closet. Okay, 17 with disadvantage. Not bad.
It's not a story that's commonly known by people of the island. Something happened here on the island. What is commonly known is the workers' revolt. You see, Crow Perch has, for a long time, been a mining island. Mining for broom underground, mining for, or lumbering for crowwood, mining for salt. It's all production. And there was a time, a lot like this experience of the past that you're getting to glimpse at through what seems to be the memories of others who were affected by this beast that you've encountered in the last session. It's cheery and hopeful. It's opportunistic. Everybody's coming to get their piece. But as time went on, the gap between those who succeeded and those who are simply workers has become insurmountably large. And one of the most notable events in the past was the workers' revolt, as people refused to pick up a pickaxe or an axe, attend the chemical plants, or do any of their work, and they revolted mostly peacefully. And that revolt was quashed very brutally by the noble families. It wasn't just the workers, though, that ended up being collateral. And knowing that her death, surrounded by others on the shores of Port Hillcrest, happened around the same time, you can only presume that while it might have been collateral damage or an accident or a casualty of a revolt, could also have been much more intentional.
So a lot of people had sisters. First of all, obviously, none of us heard that conversation. But there are a lot of people who had sisters who were doing well. But more importantly, Arthur's wife might well have been swept up around this time, whether or not she had anything to do with Constantine specifically.
At this era and time, what you can remember, especially with a 17 on a disadvantage, what you can remember is these were the days that Crow Perch was at its absolute peak. That Port Hillcrest was bustling, that everybody was coming to stake their claim and become wealthy. And the distinction of families and nobles was not to be seen.
Gotcha. So, yeah, this is older history than what my clients would be dealing with.
It's like a gold rush town in the middle of its boom, where as long as you get a piece, you can live pretty well.
Exactly.
Great. That was better information than what I was looking for. So thank you. And thank you, Dice.
The dice are mimics. They say you're welcome.
Nihilus holds his captured testimonius veritas. He looks at this beautiful, holy textured book for a moment before he looks at the rest of the party. But there must be a reason to why this spirit, demon, beast, or thing is bringing us here, conscious, all together. We should find out why. Understand it, perhaps.
Why are we here? You hear from the corner as Maggie, who's the one who's been sitting there all this time, staring at the wall blankly, starts to seem a little bit more conscious, present. How did I get here?
What is the last thing you remember, Maggie?
Well, I remember coming to get a employee of mine on the 5th floor, but it didn't look like this.
Did you enter? Did something happen?
I don't remember. I went through the door. There was an elevator. There's not one here. Where are we?
That ain't the question, I think. Looks around. Where isn't important. It's when, right?
Out of place, out of time. She stands up and she looks back at you. But you also don't belong here.
That's what I've been saying.
You're guests. But not guests of now. You see, she becomes a bit pale. What's happened?
There's something in the hotel, I think, that is... I don't know why it does this. It isn't a very nice thing, Miss Maggie.
I don't believe in superstitions.
Maggie.
Dr. Glass is going to speak into Esper's mind and then repeat what she says into Nilas's mind. And she's going to say, I'm not sure we can trust poor Ms. Maggie any longer, my friend. I fear that after we saw her vivisected in our world, this spirit of hers may be absorbed into the beast.
You can see a bit of head nodding from Nidus, not too much.
Esper's kind of distraught eyebrow crinkle worsens.
And once again into Nilas's mind, she says, as a holy man, do you have any way of judging such things, or should we just skedaddle to an adjoining room?
To that reaction, he just tilts his head a bit. He's still trying to face Maggie. You don't see much of a response on that. He's trying to keep it subtle. As he does speak to Maggie and asks, Maggie, when I was in the lobby in the reception, I heard some rumors about that this place might be haunted. Now, at first instance, it would be mere superstitions, but would you know more about the history of this place?
Of course, it can't be haunted. It can't be haunted. It can't be haunted. I went to the 5th floor to find our workers. I said it can't be haunted, and I went to the 5th floor.
That's what I'm getting at.
And look how well you are now. So clearly nothing terrible happened to you. So don't think too hard about that.
I don't belong here. And I saw you check in.
Right.
You don't belong here either. We need to get out.
Trevor, who's been basically slouched in a chair, kind of stewing, just sort of giving little asides to himself, just says, you saw us come in. We talked with you. You said we couldn't go to the 5th floor. Why is that?
Well, the 5th floor is off limits. It's not renovated. It's superstitions among the employees, for one. But it is a danger, isn't it?
That's why we're here.
Who were the workers who you'd been looking for? She turns to the others. We hadn't seen anyone, had we? Well, and before they can answer, she just turns back to Maggie and says, who were the workers you were looking for?
I sent a contractor. I thought we should just renovate the 5th floor and have it over with. Vincent O'Malley, an elven man.
Yes.
Dear, I'm sorry to say, but we believe that man has passed.
He's been shown the door.
Oh, Trevor.
What?
Well done, but
Doing what?
ouch.
I was there. I saw it. The beast. It had one eye, red. It walked but slithered. He tried to fight it. He woke up. We woke up. We both woke up. I remember waking up. Just went black right after I saw him fighting it. And you're saying he didn't make it.
No, I'm sorry, my child. You mentioned about 2 you were looking for. Who is the other?
It's Marta. She was one of the cleaners, a new one. I brought her from the Salted Stout when I took this job. Took it again, anyway. I don't remember seeing her. Maybe she got out.
We dearly hope so.
Yeah.
Whatever is to happen, I think it is better for us if we all stick together.
I believe you're probably right. Did you found that book here, did you not, Nihilus?
I did, yes. I suppose it is merely instinct.
Well, what a coincidence, because my instincts tell me when you find a hidden magic knife in a ghost hallucination, you take it. And she gestures to Esper to produce said knife.
The knife that, as far as Esper is aware, in this time period, has not left her hand, so she just lifts her hand up and holds it there.
Nihilus, you have an ability to learn things about special objects, do you not? You did that with that strange pistol.
I did, yeah.
Do you think that will work here?
I have no idea. Let's find out, he says with a smile.
Esper crosses to where Nihilus is and offers up the knife. It doesn't hurt to try.
With a gentle gesture, he takes a hold of the knife. He opens up his own Testimonium Veritas, opens it up, he puts the knife in the center of it, and he puts his other hand on the bottom of the page. He whispers a few words so silently it can barely be heard, as he will cast Identify on the dagger. Try to learn more from the item.
You start to delve into this item. You feel, through your connection to the book, the coldness of the metal, the composition of it, the wood at the hilt. But now something more starts to come to you. You start to see flashes of it in use. You see its forging as scalpels from surgery tables were thrown into a metal cast, melted down, the hardened steel used to reforge this item. And you see an engineer of sorts, but one tethered to the arcane, imbuing that metal in its forging process. You can tell it's sharper and will dull less quickly than the average blade. It will cut through quite anything, even materials of a harder caliber. You see it being used by past wielders. And you hear a name uttered from echoes of the past. The Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor? I suppose that's all I can get from it. Sorry if you were hoping for more, Dr. Glass.
Would there have been a doctor in this hotel? Or maybe one that would be around these people.
And do you know, Nihilus, if it's in fact from this time we're trapped in?
It seems like it. I don't particularly notice anything else of the note. My connection to Saurus seems truthful. If I be here for longer and I wouldn't consciously know what's happening at the moment, I would say we're inside of a memory. I feel we should hasten.
We have to find our way out of this place.
What if we try to simply do that? We leave.
We kind of know how to do that. I mean, Trevor threw that man around and it worked. Do we have to just find another one of these people and toss them?
Nihilus, did you mean, what if we go down the stairs and walk out the front door?
Yes, exactly that.
I'm assuming it won't be possible, but now I'm very curious.
This place ain't real, right?
Oh, heavens no. Lord no.
There we go. He's gonna stand up. I recognize I can be a little abrasive, so I'm just gonna apologize up front. He's gonna take the chair he was just sitting on, and he's gonna try and lift it up.
You can do so.
I'm gonna try and huck it out the window.
You throw the chair violently through the window. It breaks the wood and the glass. Trevor, you're strong enough to do so without having to check for it. The window smashes and the chair falls to the ground and shatters to pieces. You see people down below dodge to the side, gasp, and some chatter amongst a crowd as they look up towards the window at you, seeing the broken glass rain down like a shining crystalline powder.
Well, I'm gonna walk over to the now smashed window and just poke my head out. Look down at the people concerned. Just hold my hand out. Looks like I can get out.
Roll a wisdom check. Not a saving throw, just a wisdom check.
Okie dokie. It's a big old 9.
When you look out at the ground below, you see this older version of Port Hillcrest. You see these beautiful ornate umbrellas being carried around by aristocratic people. You see carriages rolling by, and older facades to the buildings around the town hall, and you see a clock being constructed in the center with complex gears and mechanisms all exposed to wooden trusses and framing around. And with a 9, you simply notice that for some reason the stature or the look of these people bears a familiarity. Like when you look at a picture of an old friend, but you don't remember what their name was.
Looks down. It's weird. Just kind of calling down to the ground. Just some renovations. Keep on trucking. And he's gonna back up. Right. Well, we can get out. People there look really fucking weird.
Intriguing. We'll be unsure of what the consequences will be to doing actions like such. So far, I think it will be a safe bet to be free to roam as we do please.
Wes, I think you said that the weird-ass sun made me feel more connected.
Yes, it, for some reason, because nobody else feels this, it's just you. You feel a familiarity to it. Like something you've known your whole life.
So the nexus that Abelard spoke of so very oft.
Roll an insight check. Say insight. That sounds about right. Cancel out the disadvantage on this one.
Yay. Well, the first roll was lower. So 14.
14. You recall seeing Trevor's reaction to a portrait on the wall, a picture of his friends. You recall Nihilus finding the Testimonium Veritas. And now you see what you can only believe to be what resembles your nexus, or feels as if it's closer or close to you. There's something happening, and it's all connected.
So perhaps there's just a thing here for each of us.
Esper, you notice a glint when the window breaks from one of the shelves, and there you also see 6 vials of slow ether stacked up in a beautiful little pyramid.
Esper's eyes are repeatedly, almost constantly drawn to that location. It seems like she's trying to avoid it, but she also cannot help her attention diverting back to the vials.
Does Dr. Glass clock that?
100%. I wouldn't say it's subtle. Unless, Esper, are you trying to hide as much as you can?
Esper is too freaked out about this place to be subtle.
Mm-hmm. You'd notice.
Ah, she says. I see. Starting small, perhaps, but this place is trying to lull us into staying. It's offering us the things we want.
I don't think I want to stay here. No, especially not if that is going to be what it wants to offer me first.
And neither shall we, Esper. Don't worry about that. We'll get ourselves out of this tricky situation. Just have to find the right angle to it.
Take care, Nihilus. That book is your little honeypot.
What?
I wonder if I break those vials, will they just reappear?
I mean, causing damage to the memory, if that's what we're going to call it, seems to make things go weird. Why not? Break something else.
Last time it was the host.
All right, Mage Hand. Dr. Glass smashes the vials off the shelf.
They fall to the ground and shatter.
We're the worst escape room team. Just start busting open the windows and breaking all the props.
It falls to the ground and shatters. It makes a noise, and at this point you hear a hurried footstep down the hall outside of the door, heading in your direction. A moment goes by.
Trevor, what did you do last time?
It was Harlan, our host, whom I think is different from the other residents.
Yeah, as he hears the footsteps going, I roughed him up a bit. Listen, I'm not gonna pretend like I know what's going on here, like I got the key to all this. I'm just experimenting just as much as you is, just... If, I can recognize when I'm not exactly the right tool for the job, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think you're a very good tool for the job, Trevor. Don't be silly. I think our options include we keep beating up that man until we get kicked out of this hallucination or whatever, and we keep beating up the beast in the real world. So we're all pretty beat up ourselves, and I'm low on my ability to help. I don't know if there's an alternate. I have this itch in my brain that maybe if there's a solve the mystery path as well, but that is maybe that's actually the trap that's been laid for me, is juicy mysteries.
Yeah, I'm just saying, this seems like above my pay grade, so I might just be looking for an excuse not to fuck shit up.
You're not fired anymore, Trevor. I'll give you a raise.
I mean, Trevor, the man that you beat up, he's not alive anymore in real time, so...
No, I know that.
It takes away having to feel bad.
I get that.
And beating him up gave us results.
Fine, if you want me to do it so badly, I'll go and kick his ass again.
Are we in shape to then kick the ass of that real life?
Well,
I'm not a fighter. I don't think I could help.
Speaking of,
You are being a great help, just as you are, Maggie.
please don't forget that when we went back, it seemed that time had continued to move and
Right.
it was doing things.
That's what I'm saying, right? We gotta get out of here quick, because we don't know what's going on in there and who's getting ate.
The door bursts open as the footsteps have approached, and you see Constantine look through.
I heard that you were causing more of a ruckus. I wanted to check on you. Are you okay?
I bumped into the shelf and they fell.
Did you bump into the chair as well?
I tripped on the chair and that made me bump into the shelf.
Roll deception with disadvantage.
Disadvantage?
They're just drugs lying around.
That is 10.
Tripped on the chair. Got it. Look, if you're going to be chaotic, I'd prefer that you do it outside the Whaler Hotel and not in Mr. Usher's room. Is that okay?
I'm sorry.
Of course, apologies. Let us say our apologies as well to dear Usher himself, if you don't mind. Where is the man?
Mr. Usher isn't available at the moment on account of needing to find a doctor and all that. I think you'd understand.
Is there something we can help with? And he points to himself and Dr. Glass.
No need. We have a doctor who's staying with us, Mr. Beuring. Mr. Usher will be just fine.
Please, it's the least we can do.
Please send Dr. Beuring my regards as a colleague.
He looks over towards Trevor, and you notice that he's standing with the door cracked open just a bit. His head peeks around, but he obscures his body with the door.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't know what came over me. I apologize for disturbing your work. I can help out in any way. I mean, I ain't good at much, but I can move stuff. So if you need help, she'll attest to that. I'm pointing over to Dr. Glass.
In fact, I would love a hand. I left some things in the basement. Quite heavy, hard to pick up on my own. Wouldn't mind a hand doing so. Later is fine. Doesn't have to be now.
I don't know if this is an insight check, but this is just like the first thing popped in my head. Is this guy bringing me down to the basement to put a bullet in the back of my head?
Go ahead and roll insight.
As he's kind of saying, like, Constantine is telling him this, he's kind of like absentmindedly fiddling with the band on his finger, the wedding band. I'm going to utilize the band of the betrothed for this and roll with advantage. Okay, well, it's not a nat 1, so that's good. Modified 20.
You begin to feel a subtle warmth coming from the band. It warms your finger, and you know that when this happens, these are during moments where you ought feel a bit doubtful about what somebody's saying to you.
Looking over Constantine, just giving him a once-over. Is he wearing the pistol somewhere on his person, or is it concealed?
You notice the portion of him that's visible through the doorway also includes the holster on the left side of his hip. The holster is empty.
I mean, I suppose it's the least I can do, right? He's gonna slowly start to take a few steps forward. Looks over to the doctor, being like, I'm gonna hang out with Constantine, We're gonna be, good friends.
He pushes the door all the way open, and there you see as he reveals in his other hand, he was holding the pistol behind it, and he holsters it in front of you.
I apologize. I didn't know if you'd be violent, so I just wanted to be careful about it, is all. Shall we? As for the rest of you, I just thought you should know that Mr. Mitchell, Eliza, and Mr. Gregory are making final preparations for the gala. Just thought you should know in case you'd want to join them. be accompanied down to the event.
I want to follow Trevor. I'm worried for him.
I'm sure you could join, but I hope you understand that there's only one of me, and we saw what happened last time with Trevor and all that. Is that okay?
Yes, but it's not so great to go alone, with a stranger. Nice as you are.
Yeah, come along. I'm just saying, don't bring the whole gang. Make me uncomfortable.
I understand. And Esper will walk to the front of the room. Stay behind Trevor, but she's not letting him go alone.
So we will see you two in just a moment. We just have to tidy up for. Be right with you.
And while you're chatting, Esper and Trevor, you'll be heading down the hall into the stairs with Mr. Constantine.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor and Esper, you head down the stairs and to the lobby and to what looks to be a maintenance room, to an old staircase, to an old door, to an old cobblestone hallway in the basement. He walks ahead of you, leading the way.
Yeah, it's just right down here.
Sweet.
Gets down to the second door, goes over to it.
Just in this way, let me get a cart, if you don't mind.
And he walks over towards just past the door to pull a little trolley that might help move this crate that he's asking about. And he grabs it,
All right, after you.
holding the cart, waiting for you to enter the room.
You just need me to move it in there?
No, it's the crates over there in that room. I've got the cart. You mind holding the door, going inside and grabbing them?
I mean,
Esper will slip forward and both hands on the door, pull at it slowly, and trying to kind of peek around the corner of the door to see inside as she does.
Roll perception.
3.
The room is old. It has cobwebs on the ceiling. The cobblestone continues from the hallway, and there are crates stacked up in each corner. Some of them have little labels on them. One red that says fragile. One yellow that says caution. He says, it's the one with the red label. I've got some glassware. Needs to come up.
All right.
dark as shit in there. Sure. He's gonna slowly take a few steps into the room. And right before he crosses the threshold, he just kind of tilts his head, turns back around to Constantine. I think we got off on the wrong foot.
Yeah? Why do you say that? I mean, I get it, but where did this come from all of a sudden? It's surprising is all.
I don't know. Back where I'm from, it's customary to, you're a community when you work together. I never really felt that for majority. And when I meet someone new and they start ordering me around, I bristle, So,
roll persuasion, please.
Let's try it. 13?
Yeah, I get it. 1 second. Can you have your friend step out? What was her name? I've changed my mind. I've decided I've changed my mind.
She doesn't say anything, but the way that she looks up at him is so clearly perturbed and uncomfortable. And it lingers there for a moment before she looks to Trevor for confirmation, for any sign.
Hurry up and get out into the hall. Now!
Hey. Come on. Ain't no way to treat a guest, right? She ain't.
Get her out of there!
Listen, Esper ain't done nothing wrong.
What? Why do you need me out so badly?
He goes over towards the door and dons a very serious expression, almost pushing past Trevor as he reaches by to the doorknob,
What's in that room?
trying to reach around him. He's going to try to close the door.
Is he trying to close it on me, or?
Well, you're standing in the doorway, so he's trying to pull you out and close the door quickly. You see as he's looking towards Esper.
Hey, we're just having a conversation, man. He's gonna try and, like, interpose himself.
There's a crash from behind one of the boxes as a disgusting, one-eyed beast, young, legs slithering on the floor, exactly like the one you've seen previously. As it crashes out from behind the crates and lunges towards Esper, please roll initiative.
Shit.
Esper, get his gun.
What are you doing? I'm trying to save you.
And he's going to try to contest you. Please give me your initiative rolls and roll athletics, Trevor, for the surprise round.
16 for initiative.
For initiative, I rolled a 16. The athletics is 20, a modified 20.
He reaches past you to try to slam the door shut. You push back at him as he takes his hand and he, like, presses it against your face, not in the way that he's looking to hurt you, but he's trying to, like, get you awkwardly out of the way to reach past as quickly as he can and grab the doorknob. And it's such an awkward position. He's somehow able to force his way by you, grabbing onto the door and slamming it shut. He looks back.
She's dead. Don't open it. She's dead now.
And with that, Trevor, it's your turn.
Paint me a picture here. I'm in front of Constantine, who's just interposed between myself and the door, who shut Esper in the room.
Yes, he shut Esper in the room to push his way past you towards the door and slam it shut.
Wrong. You made the wrong choice here.
Look, I've changed my mind, but there's nothing you can do. This thing is a monster. The door has to stay shut.
Open that door right now. Objective 1 is getting Esper out of there, so he is going to try and do kind of a wrestling style, like, double leg to lift him up off the ground and try and throw him behind him to try and get past. Mechanically speaking, he's going for a grapple.
Roll athletics.
Oh, that's not good. That's a 7.
13. As you reach in, now at this point, you're pushing each other awkwardly. He still has his hand on your face, pressing you away. You go in with your arms to try to grab him, and he just keeps that slightly longer arm reach to keep you awkwardly unable to use your full strength. He continues,
You have to stop. If you open this door, we're all dead.
Esper, the door was just slammed shut. The room has gotten darker, though there is a small window, too small to fit through, but it casts just one ray of light across. You see a slimy, wretched foot step into that light beam, followed by the rest of this creature, its one eye looking at you. You can almost tell it recognizes you well. It's your turn.
Esper has gone rigid for the first moment of hearing the door shut. As she's watching the creature look at her, her shoulders are gonna rise a bit. She's gonna take a deep, deep breath as her knuckles go white, gripping the dagger that she has on her. No. You're not gonna take me. You are not going to have me here. And, essentially, bonus action, we are going to rage again. Esper knows exactly where she wants to go, so she is going to attempt to stab it right in that smarmy fucking eye.
Roll to hit.
Lunging forward. That is a dirty 20 for 7 damage.
You strike this creature's eye directly, right into the center. You see this black ooze seeping out. It immediately looks like it's starting to heal around your blade, and as you pull it out, you do see you've done damage. However, it still continues to look at you, prowl in your direction. Now it's right up in front of you, and its maw in front starts to open. Are you doing anything else?
Esper's fight response is not at its strongest. And the amount of fear in her wants to try and override. And that fear is going to have her arm, in a moment of muscle just behaving on its own, react, pull back, and try and go for a second strike. She is going to use borrowed time.
That you will mark off on your character sheet.
24. 6 damage.
Again, you strike around the same spot, piercing a second time just inches to the right of your first strike. The eye is bleeding this black ooze profusely. The beast seems almost unable to see. It squints with its one eye towards you, and you hear the wretched screech, and through the door, Trevor, you hear...
Trevor?
I'm coming.
Esper is going to try and skirt around it, not necessarily trying to get out of its melee zone, just kind of get towards its backside.
Seeing you go around, it turns its massive head along with its body, one after the other, as it tracks you like a predator. And it's going to lunge back, trying to scrape at your body, its maw trying to bite down on you. A 19 to hit, followed by a 22 to hit.
I think that hits.
You take 17 points of psychic damage on your character sheet as it strikes at you, and what you experience is the maw biting down onto your body. You feel its teeth like spikes starting to dig into your flesh as it starts to tear away. The pain is excruciating. It doesn't feel like blades or teeth, though. You feel that pain run through this body of yours, but straight to your head. You feel as if a headache, but 1,000 times stronger than you've ever felt before, starts to pierce at your scalp.
I think Trevor's going to hear some sort of stuttering noise that's far more quiet than the beast, but it's also just weird because the pain was weird, and it's hard for Esper to properly vocalize it.
With that, the man by the door goes for his revolver, unclasps it, and points it towards you, Trevor, quickly, like that of a fairly well-trained mercenary, an outlaw, a gunslinger. This is the kind of movement that you don't see often, but you can only imagine from stories of old.
Stay there. Just accept it. She's dead. You don't want to be, and I don't want to be.
Right now, just calling also behind Constantine, just... Esper, get that door open now!
Trevor, it's your turn. He's held his action.
He's going to make a lunge and is going to just try and get him out of the way so he can try and get the door open.
An 11 to hit.
Doesn't hit. I don't even have to use deflect missiles.
You lunge forward, and striking his hand out of the way just in time, the gun goes off, striking the wall, crumbling some of that cobblestone dust onto the floor as it fires, and he misses. What do you do?
Well, hopefully he's used his reaction. Is there any way for me to... he is blocking the door. If I'm going to open the door, I gotta move him, right?
He's actively kind of pushing against you. It's a contested athletics still, as if it's a grapple. You'd have to beat him out with an athletics check or some other way.
First, I'm going to try and do a shove attack to try and get him out of the way as my action. So I'll roll athletics. I need something, man. Come on. That's a 14 for the athletics.
You shove him. His shoulder strikes the wall, he loses balance, and he's pushed 5 feet away from you, stumbling back towards the other door to the other room. He catches himself against the wall.
He's going to go and attempt to open up the door. This is your chance. Esper, go! He's going to charge in, try and get in striking distance of the creature, Come on, you ugly fuck! And is going to use his bonus action to use patient defense, and is just going to take the dodge action as a bonus action. And he's just going to try and distract and see if he can't get Esper out of there. And that's going to be his turn.
The creature turns as Esper. It's your turn.
Esper, wobbling on her legs, is going to move to stand up, and she's going to try then to stab upwards into the creature quickly.
Roll to hit.
13.
A 13 does not hit. You strike upward, deflecting off of these young, spry scales on its body, which seem metal hard. The sound clangs against its hide.
Now, Esper is going to move around it again and make a beeline for the door. And Esper has the mobile feat. Whether I hit or not, once I make an attack roll against the creature, it cannot make an opportunity attack against me.
Vibrates this creature's entire skeletal system, its innards, and it almost looks stunned just for that millisecond, and you're out of its range before it can do anything.
Stumbling, sprinting as best she can, she practically falls out on the other side of the door.
As you fall out on the other side of the door, you see Constantine holding the gun, leaning against the wall, wiping some blood from under his nose, and he's pointing it at you.
This is your chance. Just close the door. Don't think, just close.
And with that, the beast turns towards Trevor and goes to try to whip first with its tail on the spin, followed by a bite with its black maw of daggers, with a 14 to hit, followed by a 15 to hit.
14 just barely hits. Meets it, beats it.
Oh. All right. 11 points of psychic damage as the creature lunges forward.
Does the health carry over from the waking world?
It does.
I'm out. Wait. As soon as there's a bite, his eyes go a little blurry, and he feels himself starting to lose consciousness. And just his eyesight starts to go red. And he just starts to scream out in pain. Pain's just a message. A message you can elect to ignore. And he just screams out in pain, grabbing onto him. Using relentless endurance, he goes back up to 1 HP, and he's still standing.
The creature tearing through your flesh, almost completely ravaging you. You feel, although you see your body just being ripped apart here, and you almost feel like you can see inside. You also can tell it's all an illusion, but that pain transfers to your head. You feel it piercing, but you stand as this creature ends its turn. Constantine is going to go try to shove Esper. Contested athletics.
Contested athletics it is.
It's going to be a 15.
A 15. Oh, I'm sorry, hang on. I'm raging. I have advantage anyway. Natural 20.
Natural. Well, there you go.
There you go.
He goes to shove you, and you push him back with such fervor. Just as he goes to strike, you knock him to the ground, prone in front of you. That's his turn. Trevor, it's your turn. The beast looks ravenous. You see the black ooze from its eye. It looks like it's closed the wound a little bit, but that was a lot of damage that Esper managed to do. It growls at you.
He's breathing in, sputtering. You see as he's coughing, the same black ichor that covered him with the bite is starting to ooze down his chest and out of his mouth with every coughing breath. We gotta go. He is going to use a key point to use Step of the Wind and disengage as a bonus action. He is going to step out. And here's a question. I still have my main action. Constantine is currently prone outside the door. Can I try and shove him in?
Yes. Contested athletics.
All right, that's a 17.
Ooh.
You run to the door and you see him on the floor. How are you trying to shove him in?
Instinctively, like he is running purely on instinct right now. He is a sneeze away from death. Diving down, he is going to grab him around the waist.
What are you doing? Wait!
And just with a huge effort, just is going to fucking throw him over his head into the room.
He tumbles over your head, falling onto the ground inside of the room, and as a free action, if you would like, you can close the door.
What are you doing? Stop!
I'm doing legend. Closes the door and just tries to brace up against it.
No! No! No!
And then silence. Combat is over.
We gotta go.
Frick!
You good? Are you okay?
No. But I'm alive.
Right. Come on. He's gonna raise,
Yeah.
offer his hand over to them. We gotta go find the rest. We're getting out of here.
Nihilus and Dr. Glass. You enter in to the master suite. Sitting at one of the chairs in the front, you see Eliza Montgomery with her pocket mirror, preparing her makeup. She looks stunning. Her dress, white, beautiful, and ornate, classic, like you could imagine it in a vintage magazine poster. And sitting on the other end, reading a newspaper, but you can see glances being stolen, is Adrian Mitchell, the director. Those are the two that you see.
Flirty glances.
Of course.
Into Nihilus's mind, Dr. Glass says, "You can't do it now, I know, but I'd still love you to get your mystical mitts on that mirror as well, just to let me know what its deal is. It's driving me a bit crazy."
Adrian looks over at you, almost surprised and flustered. Hey, oh, nice to see you again. Don't mind me.
How could I possibly mind you, Mr. Mitchell? And into Nihilus's mind once more, points her elbow towards Constantine's room, and she says, "How about I chat them up to distract them, and you poke around? You seem like you have a keen eye for detail."
In his mind, he tries to say back, still getting a bit used to this kind of telepathy, although quite useful. Yes, that sounds like quite a splendid plan. I'm not up for feeling of or chatter in the past memory without getting derailed. These are not my people. Of particular interest at the current moment, it would seem a splendid idea.
And out of character, it is definitely a creepy experience to talk to her mentally. The ability is called subsume thoughts, and I think the first time you spoke back to her when you started out loud, it was like you spoke out loud and then you looked into her eyes and it was like she sucked the thoughts from your mouth into her mind, almost. Like she has this startling green-gray eyes, and then suddenly, like, you heard your voice in her mind. So it's a bit of like a vacuum experience to talk to her mentally.
the words on the tip of your tongue, but then sucked out.
Still, he's not yet that comfortable, but he nods and he will try to look for an opening to go to the room unseemly or uneventful.
And she clacks, she makes the cane as loud as possible and finds the spot to sit that would most draw both of their attention away from the door.
And this is Constantine's room you're entering, right?
Correct.
Okay. You sit on the opposite side of the door, so their eyes would have to be drawn in the other direction. And you see almost as Adrian looks disappointed. Oh, yeah, of course. Just come along and join us. That's fine.
Well, it's not every day someone like me gets to sit back and chat with film stars of your caliber.
I prefer people think of me like every other person. But, yes, we've had a lot of recent success. I appreciate the compliment. Eliza turns. And much more to come, I suspect.
Well, if I should treat you like everyday people, then tell me, are you two an item? And she just launches into what she hopes is a very startling, invasive line of questioning to really distract them.
Darling, the tabloids haven't caught up yet, so... And as this conversation goes on, Nihilus, you make your way towards the door. Please roll stealth. Low DC.
For a total of 19.
You silently make your way to the door, making sure that when you open it, it doesn't make a sound. And it doesn't. You step inside.
You can tell by the way how he walks with his long robes seen formerly by other priests. They learn how to walk in a more quiet manner, as if they are hovering towards a certain location instead of actually walking. It is the difference in footsteps that they do at churches in order to try to not to interrupt. He tries to reenact those exact same paces in clearly a successful manner as he enters the room.
You enter the room, and you see it's much more humble than the rest of the rooms in this suite. You notice there's a suitcase, trunk, at the side of the bed, open, propped with clothing inside. That not of an aristocrat, that of a mercenary. You see leather bindings, armor. You notice a metal rod against the wall with a pronged fork at the end and a slightly glowing crystal on the other side. Definitely something that's powered. In this era, very rare. On the desk, a business card for a certain Dr. Samuel Beuring.
What do we have here?
Would you roll an intelligence check really quick? And history is an intelligence modifier, right? Would you add your history modifier?
It would be his proficiency bonus, so an extra +2 for a total of 15.
You recall an article from the Empire of Kirinstone, and the news articles and tabloids, and this was a story recounting the tragic events at the Whaler. There was a time that the Whaler was shut down temporarily for a major renovation. There was a fire, among other mysterious circumstances, and it wasn't ever thoroughly investigated. But the tabloid, the paper, managed to get its hands on some things that were found post-accident. And among them, a pronged metal poker and a business card. Those two items you recall seeing a painting, a depiction of, when you read that article.
When he thinks back to it, did the article state as to why those items would be connected to it?
Many people passed in this event, a huge portion of its guests, and an immediate shutdown of the production Midnight Whispers. They are just the few things that the outside world was able to see. They were found not by crow perch municipalities, or they were brought back from some few survivors and or found in the rubble of what was left of the Whaler Hotel.
It is a fickle thing how the mind works. I had all the facts inside of me all along, although... So, we are clearly in the past, but I think this Sir Constantine can be a coincidence that particular these items must have been found. He tries to take a step closer and to inspect this rod item thing. Tries to get an understanding of it. Inspects it.
You wouldn't need to roll investigation. You're fairly good at that. And looking it over, you can see it's an electrically powered device, crude. You're from a time where electric energy is used in conjunction with magic to make quite interesting things, all artisanally, uniquely. It's honestly an era of innovation anywhere that's not a mining town. And even the mining town probably feels that innovation. This must have been far ahead of its time, but clearly a jagged edged sunstone had been used to create a spark on the other end. You see a small lever on the side that can be pulled to power it. And just judging by its make, you can do so. And when you pull that lever, you hear a spark and put it back in its place.
Now, he's not that familiar with many works, but he is familiar with the work of Sunstone, although it is a fairly new experience that he brings to himself. With that in mind, he thinks he will get a better understanding of it, and he will take a hold of his holy cross, the one in the shape of a tree, symbolizing the life that should be sought out in all. And he will cast as a ritual, which he will forego at a time through one of his features as a scribe's wizard, to instantly cast it, to cast Detect Magic.
The Sunstone. It glows. Sunstones inherently have some magical energy to them. It converts to a charge. It's one of the few elements that have practical use besides those who have some meager connection to powers beyond. In this world, magic is not so common, but it does exist. Sunstones are probably the most ubiquitous form of its usage. Some cables on the inside of this metal rod seem to be channeling that energy towards the other end. It has some magical properties, but clearly they come from the Sunstone, and it's not the mechanical components that do much of anything. It's the usage.
Clearly it would represent a benefactor or a rich history, or clear something as to why a person of his stature would acquire an item, especially in a time like this, would be a rare occurrence. With the Detect Magic active, he continues to have a look around, see if his deity will show him other things that might be of interest.
You do recognize the silhouette of a knife scurrying behind the walls in the hallway as Esper, you and Trevor run towards the front door of the suite, open it, quickly, startlingly even. "My!" you hear Adrian. And Dr. Glass, you see as Esper and Trevor enter, looking very worse for wear.
What I miss?
Hello again.
What did you miss? What did we miss? What barely missed you? All right, you need to lie down. I'm commandeering that room, and she just ushers them into Constantine's room.
Darlings, you barely look presentable.
Glad you noticed.
Doctor, the thing. It's here. Down.
That basement.
Yeah, she gets them into Constantine's room and shuts the door so the film folks don't hear them.
It's in the basement. I got it I got it a little bit, but I saw that it started to heal right away.
Oh dear, but what happened to it? Where is it now? Did you kill it?
Fucking asshole. He tried...
Constantine?
That's the one.
Pushed me in. And he tried to keep the door shut, and he knew it was in there. And I was in there with it. And...
He ain't gonna be a problem anymore.
And the creature?
In the room.
So it's been here in the hotel for an incredibly long amount of time.
You know what is the really unsettling part about the whole thing? We're in the past, right?
Right.
When it came around the corner and it saw me, it looked at me and it knew me.
Shit. It must be connected.
An important thing for us to remember, I think, is that we're not really in the past. We haven't traveled to the past. This is all mental. The creature has trapped us in a memory of the past. Clearly, we now know its own past. It seems from what you're all saying that this whole thing began because Constantine, for some reason, brought the creature we faced into this hotel.
You notice as the bookshelves in the room seem to be filled with your old textbooks, Dr. Glass.
And it's learning us more and more the longer we're here. It started with a crumb from each of us, and it's learning our minds and our own memories. It's perhaps feeding off of them. Perhaps that's what it wants. Perhaps it wants memories.
Wait, I found this, and he takes a hold of a musket or the rod. Yeah.
Wes, is the rod basically a cattle prod?
Basically, yeah. It's just an electrical shocker.
Perhaps that's what Constantine used to control the creature.
Exactly. It seems to be powered by a sunstone, and he tries to show it its use.
So is it out of juice?
No, in fact, it does glow with some radiant power. You recognize a sunstone, but this one, it's not polished, well manufactured. It's crude. It looks like a mined piece of earth crystal that's been used in this novel way in this era.
Perhaps this is its weakness. That's how Constantine could control it, and if he was keeping it as a pet? No, that doesn't seem right.
Why wouldn't he have it with him? I don't know.
Well, I tried the dagger. I mean, it worked as a dagger, but it didn't do anything special.
Well, you attacked it. Did how do I describe it? Did the room shake around you? Remember last time when we confronted the host? The reality itself seemed to crumble. Did it happen again?
Did Esper notice anything of that sort?
No. You fought this thing, and you felt the pull of the meat and flesh of this beast as you struck it. You heard the screeches that sounded all too similar to those you heard when you were outside of this place in the room you started from. But the walls didn't shake, and it didn't seem to disrupt the cohesiveness of this reality that you're experiencing.
No, it... As strange as it is, the encounter was as real as anything.
I'm running through the possibilities. All right, we need to get out of here, right? Hitting it didn't seem to shift nothing. So, the way I see it, we got two options. Either one, we stick to the plan and find Harland. Or two, we try and cut off the source. If they're here, that means we can affect it here, right? If we kill this thing, maybe Maybe it all just goes away.
I approve of either plan, but my worry is... look at you, at all of you. You're so injured. And I'm so tired. I just don't know how we're going to survive another confrontation in either reality.
Trevor, did you bring the gun that Constantine had?
No. I wasn't able to get the gun.
It's still down there.
Perhaps I could go fetch it. Wes, do I see the business card, the calling card?
You do. You see it on the table. And also, while you're noticing it, you hear from the other room the voice of the butler.
All right, ladies and gents, I hope you've enjoyed getting ready. But it is time for the main event, the festival, the ball. Mr. Usher is, well, he's ushering everybody down to the ball. You see what I did there. Anyway, please make your way, and we'll see you down there. Hurry up.
And the door to the suite closes, and you hear from the outside smack of the table with two hands as a chair gets pushed out.
All right, Eliza.
And you hear,
Gregory, you better come out of your room. It's time to go.
the door open and close, and you hear footsteps starting to shuffle their way out.
First thing Dr. Glass does, Mage Hand finds a nice dinner jacket from Constantine's wardrobe and gives it to Trevor.
Sure.
Because she thinks they're probably the same size, and she thinks he deserves to look nice. While she's doing that, she reads the card.
Dr. Samuel Beuring, surgeon. An address, 42 Maple Leaf Lane. The card is beautifully made, very expensively made, especially in this time.
So the knife she found is Dr. Beuring's knife. She's pretty sure. This is a knife made and or purchased and named by a surgeon who knows things.
Clearly.
And it was hidden in Constantine's room.
Yes.
Though she still doesn't know if it was with Constantine's knowledge. She didn't seem worried to see her near it. She's pretty sure that Dr. Beuring is the person who manipulated Constantine into bringing this entity into the hotel. She is still not sure what to do with that information or with that hunch. But she holds up the card and she says, I think Dr. Beuring is our next level of evil ghost or what have you.
A third option.
He was the puppet master behind Constantine. He might yet be a puppet himself. But keep an eye out. I did worry when I heard the name The Good Doctor that there might be a level of irony there. Heavens know, Esper, I am trying so hard to find you a good doctor.
I think Dr. Glass is right. We're not suited to face the monster again, and we're not even sure it would do anything. I think we need to get rid of it, but we need to think of ourselves. I think our best bet is facing Harland Usher directly once more.
I agree.
It is a gamble, one I do not like to take, but I think we should.
I just think, and this is not a very helpful thing to say because I don't know what the answer is, but I'm just hoping that there is some thing we can do to Harlan in this world that will destroy the beast in the real world. I'm very worried about simply attacking Harlan in this world and plunging us back into a vicious fight that we'll immediately lose.
Doctor, look at me. All right? I don't think it matters what world we're in. Shit hurts just the same. All right? So we can either be in this world and get killed, or we can be in the real world and get killed with maybe a chance of getting out of there.
When we woke up, the creature was unaware of us doing so. I think it is the key.
Excellent point.
I don't think the creature is doing something or interacting with this world directly. So I think it is our best bet to continue to go after Harlan Usher. Give him a good smack to see if the world crumbles.
Yes, thank you, Nihilus. I've been looking for a puppet master, but it is a beast.
A small knock behind the door, not like somebody's knocking, but like somebody bumped something. And at that point, you realize there's two shadows of legs at the bottom of the door frame visible. Somebody's standing out there trying to listen.
Maggie?
There's a moment of silence, and then
Yes?
the doorknob turns and she slowly opens it. Sorry, I wanted to help. I just didn't want to impose.
We're sorry for not including you. We're not sure what to do ourselves. We feel lost, I think is the rightful term to say, as I'm sure you do.
Yes.
I feel the same. I really do feel lost. But whatever you said to me brought everything back. I feel like I know that I'm here. I'm not here. I'm on the 5th floor of the Whaler Hotel from my time, and I want to get out.
And we went right after you. And he has a look towards the rest of the party to see on their looks if he should say anything more.
I heard you say you have to hit Harlan Usher.
Yes.
Maybe I can do that.
Perhaps Maggie should bear the knife.
You sure you don't have to, but...
Something's been weird since I got here. I didn't even know where I was at first, but now that I do, everybody knows me. They say my name, and even those who I didn't introduce myself to. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm trusted here. I can't explain it.
More than us anyway, so... this gala thing is happening, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna be there, out in the open. That's our shot.
I know Harlan's gonna be there.
Well, thank you for your assistance, Maggie. Let us make haste once more.
Should I take the knife?
He looks towards Esper.
Yes. She's gonna hand on her knee. She has to very clearly struggle to get herself back upright after she had been leaning on a wall. But she'll go to Maggie and hold up the knife for her to take.
Maggie looks at it nervously for a moment. It's that look of somebody who isn't a fighter, has never been a fighter, but is about to take on a huge responsibility. And almost working her way up to it, you see her take in a last bated breath before she grabs the knife. Okay.
Hey, it's alright. Everyone knows how knives work. You're going to do fine, Miss Maggie.
Yeah. I got this.
Yeah.
Nihilus has one hand on Maggie's back, and with the other he guides her hand holding the knife, saying it would be wise to conceal it and to write a moment. And as he's trying to console her, he will cast guidance on her and keep on staying with her on a close proximity, guiding her, helping her, trying to make it a bit easier.
You see as she takes in another deep breath, your guidance making her feel just a bit more comfortable. And okay. Yes. She takes the knife and she sticks it down into her corset. She tightens around the back just a little bit, stands up straighter. Nobody's seeing that through this.
Nihilus will start to walk with Maggie.
You walk alongside Maggie as she goes and adjusts her corset one more time to make sure it's perfect. She looks nervous but confident, much more so ever since you gave guidance. She just feels safer. And she steps out into the main room, the one with the tables, and looks towards the door, and there you hear, all the way through the door, through the floors, down to the first level, the faint sound of operatic classical music begin to get just loud enough to get to this room. And as Maggie looks back at the rest of you, takes a deep breath. Okay, let's go.